wake up, it's time to be free. Wake up, was blind, now I see. Wake up, it's time to be me. Wake up, my mind is the key.
Wake up, it's time to be me. Wake up, my mind is the key.
Welcome, it's Jullien Gordon, and this is another episode of the Daily Jules, where I drop nuggets of wisdom to help you increase your degrees of freedom. It does not matter how many college degrees you have. What really matters is your degree of freedom. It does not matter how much money you make. What really matters is how you actually make money. So today we want to talk about time. Time is actually our most valuable resource here on Earth. And for those who are working at a traditional job and trying to break free, this is going to be extremely valuable. And then for those who are entrepreneurs, this is actually what helped me shift from being a workaholic and actually putting some boundaries around my entrepreneurial life, knowing that I am bigger than my company. I like to say family first, founder second. And I have to remind myself of that because I started my company as a single man. And when you're single, you can work as many hours as you desire. And, you know, it doesn't have any impact on anybody except you and your health and maybe some of your social life. But once you start getting into relationship with others and you realize that your work actually has no boundaries and you start prioritizing your work and your business over those you love. And the way I used to justify that was like, you know, this is my purpose and my purpose is here, whether you are here or not. And my wife and I, she and I have had some great conversations, and she helped me actually recognize that I was actually a workaholic, that I had no control over the way I was working. And the way I define a workaholic, actually the distinction I make between a workaholic and a high performer is that a workaholic does work to look important, whereas a high performer looks for the most important work to do. Workaholic just grows busier and busier and busier, whereas a high performer actually grows the business. And as I got clear on that distinction, I started to realize that I was actually more of a workaholic, even though I thought I was a high performer. And as a result, it started changing the way I looked at how I showed up in my own company. You know, a lot of people blame corporate America for why they feel the way they feel. But I'll be honest with you, when I stepped into my own company, I was the worst boss that I ever had. I was the worst boss that I ever had. There were no boundaries. Everything was a fire, no priorities. I was working countless hours, Mondays through Sunday. It just nonstop, no vacation. I was like a slave driver to myself. And I had to put work in check. I had to say, you know, work is part of who I am, but it is not all of who I am. And so having what I'm about to share with you now really helped me change my relationship to work. And it's really about creating the right kind of finish lines for each given day, right? When you don't have a particular finish line, whether that finish line is a revenue goal, whether it's a project goal, whether it is a time goal, if you don't have a finish line, then you just keep running as hard as you possibly can, right? Whereas a marathoner, when they cross the finish line, what do? They stop because they've been running, but they all knew that the finish line was 26.2 miles out. When a sprinter, somebody who's doing a 100-meter yard dash, they actually know where the finish line is. And because they know where the finish line, because they're clear on their finish line and their energy, right? What do? When they cross the finish line, especially if they win, they keep on running around the entire track. Right? It's a celebration. Well, the marathoner is not doing that. And so based on where your finish line is, it actually affects how you show up and how you run the race that's ahead of you. If it's far out, then you know you need to pace yourself. Whereas if it's close, you know that you can go all out and sprint. Okay. And so I want to share with you 4 different types of finish lines that I think are going to help you. And each one is attuned to different types of days that you might have in your work, whether it's a 40-hour work week or a work week with no kind of boundaries at this moment in time until this episode is done and you learn these 4 different deadlines. This will be helpful to you. So the first type of deadline is actually, change this up. First type of deadline is actually energy-based. Energy-based. So a lot of people default to energy-based deadlines. I'm going to keep working until I'm dead tired. I'm going to keep working until I'm dead tired. And that might have worked in college when you're trying to pump out paper in one night, right? And you had to get it done, or else you would have missed the deadline. But this is not a healthy way to work if every day is an energy-based deadline, because then you work and you crash, and you work and you crash, and work and you crash. And what I heard is that for sleep deficits, your body will always find a way to get its hours back. Whether it means knocking you off your feet through sickness, through disease, your body will find a way to recoup the sleep that you are missing. So most people are supposed to have 7 to 8 hours of sleep. But if you are letting work consume you through the evening and you're not getting the proper amount of sleep, then you're probably using energy-based deadlines, and that's not always the most effective. Maybe in a last-minute project once in a while, right? Last-minute project once in a while, but this should not be your default, okay? The next type of deadline is actually, it used to be common, but it's not as common anymore, and that's a time-based deadline. So when you start your day, I encourage you to determine which one of these deadlines is best for you on that given day, given what you have to do ahead of you. So time-based deadlines is, look, I'm going to leave at 5 o'clock, right? I'm going to leave at 3. I'm going to leave. Today is going to be a little bit longer. As I see what needs to get done today, I'm actually going to be leaving around 6:30. And I want you to actually declare that time at the beginning of the day. Don't just let work continue on, because work will expand. It will fill the space and time that you give it. Parkinson's law says that work expands and fills space and time. If I give you 2 hours to take a test or do a task that only takes 1 hour, what will you do? You will take 1 hour and 59 minutes to do it. But if I gave you 1 hour to do the exact same task or test, you would accomplish it without compromising your results whatsoever. So you have to be careful about letting work expand to fill the space and time that you make available for it. So time-based is cool, but you have to know when to use it. All right. So set an alarm on your phone. And I actually encourage you to set 2 alarms, maybe a 30-minute warning, right? Like if you're leaving at 5, set a alarm at 4:30, saying so that you know to wind down. Otherwise, if alarm goes off at 5, then you probably won't end up leaving until 5:30 because you're in the middle of something. You definitely have to get these emails off or whatnot. Okay, so that's the time-based deadline. And most people rely on energy-based or time-based. Now, the other two are really powerful. And this is how I've started working. And it has changed my relationship to work. The third one is results-based. So this is saying at 8 a.m., whenever you start your workday, once I accomplish this today, then I will be done. Once I accomplish this today, then I will be done. And so what I've started doing is I've actually broken up my day into 2 halves, just like athletes, right? Soccer has a first half and a second half. Basketball, they have quarters, but they also have halftime. So the way I've actually approached my days now, and even map out my week, is it's a grid. It's a grid of 2 rows and 5 columns. And this is my first half. And this is my second half, and this is Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And simply at the beginning of the week, I literally, using my entrepreneurial plan, I map out what I want to accomplish in the first half of Monday, what I want to accomplish in the second half of Monday, what result do I want to be done, right? And when those are done, guess what? I can step away. That's when I can go and play basketball. That's when I can go into learning and step away from my to-do list and work, right? So there are days where, something's not pressing, there's not a close deadline, right? So I don't need to use energy-based or time-based. If I get these 2 things done, these 2 chunks of things done today, then I'm done. Whether I finish that at 5 o'clock or whether I finish it at 3, once it's done, right? I don't have to go fill that space with something else. And this has been a really powerful one for me. And sometimes it leads to going and catching a movie in the middle of the day before I go pick up my daughter, right? Because what I need to get done got done, right? So then the final one, the fourth one, is feelings-based. And this is saying I'll leave when I feel good about what I've accomplished. It's basically checking in with yourself and saying, you know what, this is a long-term project. This isn't something that's going to be accomplished in one day. It's not going to be accomplished in a half of a day. So I can't break it up like this. It does not have a single completion point, or the completion point is further out, right? So at this at this juncture, like for instance, writing a book, you can put milestones in writing a book, like a chapter or certain sections of a chapter. But let's say I'm writing a book, and I am in the process of writing a book. I can say, you know what, and actually for the second half of today, I will be writing that book. At some point in the second half of the day, I'm going to use a feelings based, and I'm going to say, you know what, when I feel like the quality of the content that I got out today was good enough, then that's when my work day is done. That's when my work day is done. I don't think you have to fill in the quote unquote empty hours. And the reason I say guilt-free, I think a lot of people feel guilty when they're not working, especially Monday through Friday, whether it's employee or entrepreneur. I think people feel guilty because I think being still, meditating, learning, going and doing recreation, I think those are things seen as lazy or unproductive or inefficient. I could be doing more here. And those things actually give me mental breaks so that when I do show up to work, I'm more present, I'm more alert, right? I'm not always on thinking about work, because then the brain never, that side of the brain or whatever synapses are kicking off in the brain when you're working, they never get a chance to rest. And when they don't get a chance to rest, they end up burning out. So these two, most people operate in these two, energy-based and time-based. And I'm encouraging you to hopefully find 1 or 2 days a week where you can start implementing results-based and feelings-based. Results-based and feelings-based. And I think you'll find you have a different experience and relationship to work and to time as a result of doing this. So this is really powerful. Find 1 or 2 days a week that you can actually focus on a results-based or feelings-based, and try it out and let me know what it does for you. And I hope it brings you more time freedom, because that's what people really want. They want more time freedom in their life. Financial freedom, people say financial freedom, but they really want financial freedom so that they can have more of their own time back. And this is a way to begin that right here, right now, where you are. So with that, this is Jullien Gordon with another episode of the Daily Jules. I hope that this episode has blessed you, and please share it if you know somebody else who is dealing with workaholism, or you see works until they are dead tired, trying to be Philo, first in, last out of the office. If you see somebody dealing with that, please share this with them. All right. So with that, I will catch you in the next episode, and I'll see you soon. Much love. Peace. I hope these mindsets, metaphors, and methodologies blessed you. If you desire more freedom, go to getfreenow.com to subscribe to the show on iTunes, YouTube, or Facebook, and get 4 of my best courses in the Freedom School for 100% free.